Welcome to Matchstick. So this is a song that I've talked about before, and at the risk of sort of doing it in, I think that looking into the lyrics of it specifically would help me, you know, understand all of the angles of the song, as opposed to not looking at the lyrics of it, I suppose. But this is Venom by Eminem. It's the final track, strangely put there too, because it's weird to have like a track that not only featured as a song for a movie on your own album, uh, even for the artist who recorded that track, and then B, it's extra weird because it's similar to like Will Smith's song about the Men in Black, or like Prince's song about Batman or whatever. It's like, imagine if either of those songs had been on just a regular album by one of those guys. I suppose I'm not sure what Will Smith's albums are generally like, but it's weird to, especially like for a serious artist like for Eminem, it's weird to just say like, oh, I'm gonna throw in a song that was from the Venom soundtrack, the comic book movie Venom. Um, and not only that, not only is it just like me rapping about something that isn't related to Venom, but it's specifically in name related to the character in the movie and the title character in the movie, which has the same title as the song. And and the chorus is literally him rapping about it, or literally him rapping Venom, 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 Venom. Like it makes up a large part of the song. It is the song, and so it's weird. It feels like Eminem doing like a Coca-Cola ad, but worse than that, like an ad for a Coca-Cola flavor that came out for a couple years or something in the mid 2010s, and then like was discontinued in an album, like, well, in an album that people will look back to as one of Eminem's regular albums. I mean, yeah, it's fair. It's pretty much that weird. It's like him having a song about. Well, in any case, yeah. Anyway, let's get into the song. So my current understanding of the song is that it's not only is the subject of the song this, but it seems so much this that it seems like Eminem might be doing some kind of truth drop about like him literally being like an agent of some company like Tavistock or something, there to corrupt society in some way. Interestingly enough, it doesn't sound like something that Eminem wouldn't necessarily talk about, but it does, like, it's directly him saying like, I have corrupted you. I am the Venom suit, like from Spider-Man, that takes over a person and like corrupts them and makes them a monster. That is my music on you. And it's like, that's a pretty, even for like Eminem, who, this album is called Kamikaze, and Eminem is pretty direct in a lot of this album, just sort of like going after people, and like, or just generally like, just maybe not people in particular in some cases, but just like going after like people who don't like his music, or people who say this or people who say that, whatever. And I think Donald Trump, he goes after a little bit in the song "The Ringer" or something, or I don't know, or he talks about how, having gone after Donald Trump in another song, like the government knocked on his door, which, um, depending on how integrated he is with some kind of control mechanism like a Tavistock or something, I doubt that he would get a knock on the door about like lyrics that he was putting out in an album being released by like a major record label. It's like, you don't think that there'd be some interaction between those forces shaping the culture and the governmental forces. It's like, it doesn't seem like that kind of thing would be a surprise. But if things are on a more subtle level or something, or perhaps even if the case is the former, um, from my own experience, I can verify that, yeah, they will knock on your door if you say or write certain things. So that was interesting. But in any case, it's a very combative album. It's very sort of aggressive towards. It's just an aggressive album, and so it's sort of a strange album to end with, or it's sort of a perfect album, but it seems sort of strangely naked to end with a slap in the face to the listener and saying like, "I made you a monster with my music," kind of thing. It's like that's what he's saying in the song. That's so. Let's go through some of the lyrics here. I got a song filled with shit for the strong-willed when the world gives you a raw deal. So this seems like it's coming from a different angle than the rest of the song is coming from, but I'll start it again. I got a song filled with shit for the strong-willed when the world gives you a raw deal. Sets you off till you scream, piss off, screw you. When it talks to you like you don't belong or tells you you're in the wrong field, when something's in your mitochondrial because it latched on to you like, okay. And then it goes into the verse, but it's sort of the introductory part of the song, and it sounds like it would go into the, because it latched on to you like Venom, bada beno, venom, venom, and we might see how the other verses end with something like that, transitioning into the chorus. By the way, Eminem does some pretty good transitions into choruses. Like you can tell that he's actually like sort of doing it intentionally sometimes. So, or many times, and even like with his flow, he does like in the song Spacebound, his flow builds up to something in the verses and then launches into the chorus like every time. It's perfect. Like he's building off of the verses with the choruses, and usually people don't think of Eminem for having really good choruses or even good beats or anything. He's sort of a rapping only rapper. You don't often think of him as being good in more aesthetic ways, but clearly there's a lot of thought going into some of the stuff, or it integrates well, maybe if he hadn't thought about it. But in any case, let's get into verse 1. Knock, knock, let the devil in. Well, there you go. First line of the first verse of the song, minus those introductory remarks that actually sounded like they were kind of encouraging to the listener, but perhaps they were kind of coming from a place of Eminem getting the people listening to his song to feel like they're being put down and to feel like they're being done wrong, and in somehow affecting them by sort of pulling them into some kind of like victim complex or some kind of resentment or something. I think that might be sort of what he's doing in the intro part. But then he goes in, he starts the first verse again. Knock, knock, let the devil in. I could end this song analysis right here. What a way to start a song that seems to me to do the things that I've been describing it as doing prior to this. Like what a great way to start a song about him influencing people toxically through his work. Knock, knock, let the devil in. Come on. Okay. Knock, knock, let the devil in. It gets even better, guys. Malevolent as I've ever been. So malevolent, but he mispronounces it. Maybe for a particular reason, it's sort of a, I think I've heard somebody else say malevolent. Like, I think it's just, I think it's just how some people say it incorrectly, but okay. Knock, knock, let the devil in. Malevolent as I've ever been. But that's really meaningful. Let the devil in, and then he's saying malevolent as I've ever been, which has a dual meaning. First, I'm still as malevolent, no matter what I'm telling you in this song, no matter if I'm telling you, yeah, this is what I've been doing to you, no matter if I'm appeasing to you in some way or another, I'm as malevolent as I've ever been. So it may seem like I'm sort of appeasing to you right now. It may seem like I'm trying to, talk straight with you and be a straight shooter and all these things, but I'm right now as malevolent as I've ever been. But then the other meaning is the connotation of it being sort of the idea that you might get from it, although maybe not stated directly, is I've been malevolent in the past. Like I've been really malevolent. Like it's a high level of malevolence to the point where it's notable and even impressive that I'm as malevolent as I've ever been, because I've been really malevolent thus far. And he doesn't. He says malevolent as I've ever been. That leaves room for him being more malevolent than he's ever been, but as malevolent as he's ever been, it's as if he's just like he's at a he's at a level of malevolence. There you go, where he like that's basically the highest level he can maintain. So he's as malevolent as he's ever been. It seems like it's sort of like almost a straight line of malevolence, and it's a high one maybe. Moving on. So, head is spinning, this medicine screaming, let us in, like a salad bowl. Edgar Allan Poe, bedridden, should have been dead a long time ago. That's interesting because people say Eminem might be a clone, but probably not going to get into that much here. Who knows? Liquid Tylenol, gelatins, think my skeleton's melting. Wicked, I get all high when I think I've smelled the scent of elephant manure. Hell, I meant Kahlua. Screw it. So this is kind of like goofy, silly Eminem. This part is sort of like Eminem kind of having fun and kind of being fun, and the whole like Tylenol, liquid Tylenol, gelatins, like Eminem talking about taking pills, which has been sort of a big thing for him to talk about pretty much since Relapse, and actually I guess going back to the Slim Shady. I think he was talking about Vicodin and stuff in the Slim Shady LP, his first major label album. So yeah, but should have been dead a long time ago. That's interesting. Think my skeleton's melting. It's interesting. He's my skeleton's melting. He seems to reference that as if he's sort of apart from it, which kind of gives the impression of him being somewhat inhuman, somewhat artificial, or something alien. Like, I think my skeleton's melting. It's like he's referring to it as if it's sort of significantly removed from him, and as if like this is just sort of a creature suit that he's moving around. But that might be me looking more into it than might be substantially there. But okay, let's see. I went through hell with accelerants and blew up myself again. Volkswagen tailspin. Okay, so he's doing his whole well, it's sort of interesting in the context of the song though. He's doing his whole like my life is chaotic and I'm on all these drugs and I'm going drunk driving or I'm doing this or blah blah blah. It's all a tailspin, but it's sort of like he said knock knock let the devil in to start this verse. It's as if this is part of the conditioning that he's trying to put on people. So he's talking about taking all these drugs and stuff, and then people listen to that, and then maybe they listen to it many times, and now they have it in their mind, like all this, they have all these thoughts about drugs floating around in their mind, and maybe some people get influenced to then start becoming more open to getting into drugs and stuff. Like over time and listening to many songs with just this type of content, and as I said, Eminem's been doing this kind of drug stuff since Relapse, at least prominently, although pretty much throughout all of his albums, doing like prescription pills stuff and stuff. But and like drinking and smoking and weed and blah blah blah. But okay. There's also another angle, so let's go on. Skin. Mayo and went from Hellman's and being rail thin. Filet-O-Fish, scribbled jam, rap Olympic 97 Freaknik. How can I be down? Me and Bazaar in Florida. Proof's room, slept on the floor of the motel then. Dr. Dre said, hell yeah. And I got his stamp like a postcard. Word to Mailman, Mailman. I think Melman, like DJ Melly Mel, maybe. Seems like he's referring to a specific rapper. And I know they're going to hate, but I don't care. I barely can wait to hit him with the snare and the bass, square in the face. This fucking world better prepare to get laced because they're going to taste my Venom, I got the Drainum, Venom, better, better, do, 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 do. Okay, so this is how the verse is shaping up. So basically, he's talking about how much of a mess his life was before he got big. He's in this hotel room with Bizarre. That's another member of, I said thought character. Well, it is his character, the rapper's character, but Bizarre, and they actually have like dual identities. It's D12, but there are six of them, or there were six of them, and it's like so each of them has like two characters, Bizarre, and I think there's another name. It's similar to Wu Tang, but only like two each. But yeah, he and Bizarre in Florida. Proof's room. That's another rapper from D12. Rest in peace, Proof. If whatever. Anyway, slept on the floor of the motel. Then Dr. Dre said, "Hell yeah!" So all this shit going on, and he also talked about Filet-O-Fish, Scribble Jam, Rap Olympics '97 Freaknik. So he had this little success, like not even tiny success enough to get noticed by Dr. Dre. So the story goes, but it's like you know and went from Hellman's and being rail thin, Filet-O-Fish, Scribble. So he's talking about the shitty, like cheap food he's eating, but he's winning these rap competitions. He's sleeping on motel floors. His life isn't glamorous, but he's like doing stuff, and he's with these rappers from D12, Bizarre and Proof, and they're in Florida, so they're kind of traveling around because he's from the Midwest. He's making a lot of moves. He's doing a lot of things, and here he is, and then Dr. Dre said, "Hell yeah," and I think "Hell yeah" is one of the lines that Dre has in maybe one or more of his albums. Actually, it feels like an iconic line, but in any case, Dr. Dre said, "Hell yeah," and so now he's pulled into the industry, and now he becomes this person who's going to attack you with his toxic venom. And so Eminem, again, I got a stamp like a postcard, word to mailman, and I know they're going to hate, but I don't care. I barely can wait to hit him with the snare and the bass, hit him with the music, square in the face, hit them and hurt them, like actually do damage to the people who are going to be listening to him. This fucking world better prepare to get laced. Laced as in like a drug being mixed with something else, and often the connotation is something toxic or something bad or something destructive or harmful to your health, because they're going to taste my venom. I got that adrenaline momentum, and I'm not knowing when I'm ever going to slow up, and I'm ready to snap any moment. I'm thinking it's time to go get 'em. They ain't going to know what hit 'em when they get bit with the venom. And then he repeats that. So that was the chorus just there, from Venom to, where I was saying that was the chorus just there. But anyway, just already, just with one verse, this song gives you like the entire evolution and how desperate Eminem was, how literally hungry he was, like eating Filet-O-Fishes at McDonald's and stuff. They're not that filling, and like, Hellman's being rail thin, literally hungry, and just like, but also like on Tylenol, let's see, liquid Tylenol, gelatins. Think my skeleton's melting. I get all high when I think I've smelled the scent of elephant manure. Hell, I meant Kahlua. He's talking about drinking. He's talking about sort of drugs, getting high. Not necessarily in a drug context there, but nevertheless getting high, like the idea of it. And so his life is a mess, but he's working hard and he's doing these things. And now he's so excited to finally get up there and hit you with his music. Okay, so the second verse is interesting in itself. I just read through it. I've listened to the song before, but um, sometimes, though, with Eminem songs, you can kind of like glaze over what he's saying because it sounds like, especially with Kamikaze and stuff like that, where he layers so many rhymes and syllables on top of each other at once. It's often one thing you might do is sort of just let like 20 lines go by in the span of a song and realize, well, not even realize, but just like you didn't really like listen to what he was saying. So in this one, he's talking about, he says, venomous, the thoughts spun like a web and you just caught in them. held against your will like a hubcap or mud flap. So, well, okay, so it starts again with I said knock knock let the devil in. Well, it starts with I said knock knock let the devil in. So it's not just knock knock, it's this time he's like reiterating it to you. I said, as Eminem, I said knock knock let the devil in. Shotgun put pellets in the felt pen. Cocked fuck around and catch a hot one. It's evident I'm not done. So he's casting his pen, like what he's writing the rhymes with, as like a weapon, and like fuck around and just maybe like fuck around and listen to his music and catch some of the blast from this weapon that he's subsuming you with his like Venom suit nature here. But we'll get to the Venom suit thing more specifically a little later. But he's pointing to his felt pen and saying, you know, shotgun pellets in the felt pen. It's like basically this is the weapon. And the weapon is aimed at the listener because the listener is hearing the words that he's writing down. Or you might say, well, that weapon is aimed at whoever he's criticizing in the song or something. But keep in mind, this song is about, and he gets pretty explicit at the very end of it, it's about him being a toxic influence to the listener. So, you know, if he's aiming it at anyone here and he doesn't specify aiming it at someone in particular, although with what he morphs the verse into, it seems like it's specified at the listener specifically, maybe. In any case, without naming someone it's pointed at, given that the theme of the song is his music aimed venomously at the listener, you might think that the felt pen with the shotgun pellets in it is aimed at you. Okay, so thoughts spun like it's evident. So it's evident that I'm not done. The venomous, the thoughts spun like a web, and you just caught in them, or you're just caught in them. You know, he's saying you just, but I think it's the meaning is you, you apostrophe re. Okay. But okay, so the thought spun. The thoughts spun like a web, and you just caught in them. Held against your will like a hubcap or mud flap. Beat, strangler, attack. So this ain't gonna feel like a love tap. So he's saying the thoughts in your head. He's talking about specifically how he's like hitting you here, like in the context of the song anyway, as like it being an offense against the listener. The thoughts spun like a web. So the thoughts spun that he's writing down with his little shotgun pen, the thoughts felt pen, his thoughts are spun like a web, and you're just caught in them, held against your will like a hubcap or mud flap. So it's like you're caught in the thoughts spun in the web, you're held against your will like a hubcap or a mud flap. Basically, you're on the side of, or on the back bottom end of this moving vehicle, and you're held against your will because you're just like an inanimate object on this moving vehicle that is Eminem's songs, or that is what Eminem is doing here, maybe. Okay, so eat painkiller pills, fuck up the track, like what's her name at the wheel, Danica Patrick, threw the car into reverse at the India, nut crash in India, the back of it just mangled steel, my Mustang and the Jeep Wrangler grill, with the front smashed, much as my rear fender, assassin, Slim be a combination of an actual kamikaze and Gandhi. Translation, I will probably kill us both when I end up back in India. Back in India, like in a car, or back in India, like he pronounces it in the song back in India, like Gandhi. That's a pretty funny one. Until I read this right now, actually, I wasn't sure what else he meant by back in India. It was like back in India. What other? It sounded like he was doing that as like a double meaning pun, but it was like what other meaning would back in India have? But okay. Like what other words would it be? What wordplay would it be playing off of there or here? But it is so basically he talks about how you're trapped on this vehicle. You're held against your will like a hubcap or mud flap. And then he talks about just he says, "Eat painkiller pills, fuck up the track, like what's her name at the wheel, Danica Patrick." He's talking about you in this metaphor having been set onto the car and affixed to it. He's talking about just smashing the car up on a track, um, crash in India, the back of it just mangled steel, my Mustang and the Jeep Wrangler grill with the front smashed, much as my rear fender, assassin. So he's smashing up this car that he has said that you're a part of against your will based on the thoughts that he's spun out of his shotgun pen in this fucking verse. Like he's destroying you. Translation, I will probably kill us both when I end up backing into you. So, and he's just backing into you, like whether you be the hubcap part of it or the mud flap or just another person on the road, he's backing into you or back in India. That's sort of got sort of a spiritual connotation to it. It's like the Second Coming by W.B. Yeats. What creeps towards Bethlehem waiting to be born or something. It's like when Eminem's back in India, what's going to happen? You know, he's really, clearly he's amping up to be some kind of like great messiah here. But anyway, you ain't going to be able to tell what the fuck's happened in India when you're bit with a venom, but a venom, venom, venom. But what a fucking all-out assault on the listener in this verse. By the way, before we go on to the third verse, sidebar about the first verse, it's very interesting from the perspective of thinking about Eminem as a potential like controlled agent in culture, similar to Alan Watt saying like they give you your culture, you know, like, you know, these people are in one way or another, but that's what I'm going to be talking about here based on the verse. In one way or another, these people are specifically like, essentially these people are specifically used to influence culture, like these celebrities or these stars. And Alan Watt talks about how they say, you know, you follow the stars, like, or rather, like these people are referred to as stars, and there's the classic phrase like you follow the stars or something. And so the people actually follow the stars, and they may not think they're doing it, but like think about how much Eminem has like changed culture. Like Eminem definitely introduced a level of sort of vulgarity and outrageousness into like the mainstream, or at least into the mainstream of that generation. Alan Watt also talks about that, how each generation is given its own culture. Eminem really introduced a sense of like outrageous like hostility into the generation that you know, he was affecting, which was really my generation, sort of the millennial generation, maybe later Gen Xers or earlier Gen Zers or whatever, or Y. Is there a Y? That people tend not to talk about Gen Y. I don't know what that is, but am I Gen Y? I don't know, but basically, like, it seems like Eminem may have truly imprinted on society in a way where like people became more aggressive and hostile, like in the generation that he was one of many stars like that. People follow the stars. And so, but it's interesting because in the first verse here, in the song where Eminem is specifically telling you like I'm fucking you up with my music, like in more ways than one, like he's telling you that in more ways than one, using various metaphors for it and stuff, but also directly coming out and saying it like as even as like plays on fucking corporate fucking bad guys in Spider-Man movies, which by the way is sort of interesting as well. It's like he's the corporate monster. Word up to Rob Ager on Collative Learning on YouTube with his alien stuff. But it's like Eminem is sort of the corporate monster, and he's telling you in a song called fucking Venom, based on like one of the most tiresome like bullshit conveyor belts of shitty media, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And it's like, this is just a song from the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Eminem telling you how he's fucked you up your whole life. And it's like, well, maybe the Marvel Cinematic Universe is doing some of that too, like, you know, with all their like, oh, we don't care, like their witty banter with each other, which is always, it's the tone of like, oh, like, well, I don't care. I'm just going to talk ironically about this situation. I'm going to be kind of snarky. I don't really care about anything, guys. I'm not going to get invested in anything. I'm not doing right and wrong. I'm just kind of over it and I'm just being snarky. And it's like that's the attitude people are being hit with over and over again by big movie after big movie after big movie after big movie. And these characters are like these are characters that you might identify with in another situation maybe, or in this one, like these are superheroes. They are like doing hero's journey, and it's like, yeah, it's like Iron Man. He's so cool and he's so rich and he's so snooty and he's snarky and like he doesn't give a shit about anything. And then you have all these fans who are like, hey, I'm joking like Iron Man now. Go to Reddit. They're basically all fucking quipping like the Marvel Cinematic Universe characters. But in this song, Eminem is specifically in the song where he's telling you like this is what he's doing in one way or another. Eminem is specifically telling you that he like basically he's telling you how he really had a rough time of it. Like before Dre said hell yeah, before he got the sign off from someone in the industry, essentially like before an industry figure came and like scooped him up, before literally one of the bigger industry figures in the music industry of like hip hop at that point came and like basically took him under his wing, like going under the dragon's wing perhaps, like Matt McKinley talks about. Eminem was just a regular guy. Well, he was a regular guy who had a lot of work ethic, and he hung around with like similarly devoted people, maybe like the guys in D12, and he was like doing well at like rap competitions, Scribble Jam, the Rap Olympics, 97 Freaknik, maybe that's the one where he won the Rap Olympics, if he did, 1997 Rap Olympics of it, I don't know. I would say that, is it, it's like, basically, it's not a silver spoon story. It's the story of a guy who, as Eminem is presenting it here, really was dedicated and devoted to making it in the music industry. He really was a poor guy from Detroit who had an abusive mother, maybe, and like blah, blah, blah. I mean, who knows about how his, life story happened and what influences might have been there and what connections may have been there. Who knows? But it sounds like essentially he's setting up a story where he didn't have the connections and he just worked as hard as he could, and then someone from the industry took him under his wing. And so that's some really interesting sort of conspiracy theorist corner stuff for somebody who might have otherwise been looking at industry figures such as Eminem or maybe a Drake. Drake seems, maybe he was a child actor and stuff. Maybe he had more connections than Eminem seems to in this verse, at least. It might be, but it might be though that I would say, that Eminem really didn't have the connections. And it's like, isn't that interesting? Like, because Eminem's being fairly straightforward and honest about the other stuff here. So the fact that he devotes most of the first verse to telling you just how unconnected he was until Dr. Dre said hell yeah, and just how much work he put into it, and he was rail thin, and he was eating shitty food, and he was like in not even hotel rooms, motel rooms, and it's like, he was like, but he was also like doing well in these rapping competitions and stuff like that. It's like, he really seems to be going out of his way here to say, hey guys, I wasn't just born with connections. I did become this sort of Illuminati Venom figure that I'm telling you about, but I became it because I worked really hard to get there, and then Dr. Dre took me under his wing. So. But anyway, let's get into the third verse. And going back to that first verse thing, I look at this song as sort of like, not just specifically related to that, but like in general, this song is sort of a very interesting truth-droppy kind of document, straight from someone that you might think is like part of some kind of like Illuminati cultural control mechanism. And based on the cultural impact it seems that he's had in like certainly in more negative and hostile way and angry way and stuff, and based on like various other things, it seems like Eminem might indeed be this kind of control figure, and he's telling you right here, I've been fucking you up with my music basically your whole entire life. And so he's going to really say that. He's going to put an underline in it on the third, underline under it on the third verse, or in the third verse. But yeah, basically Eminem here's, it's a really interesting document, and I'm glad he included it in the album rather than as some like extra track somewhere, because then say it showed up on Curtain Call 2 or something, I probably wouldn't have given it nearly as much time as I'm giving it here. But the fact that he not only puts it in the album Kamikaze, perhaps his best album of all time, maybe, or one of his more highlighted latter day albums. Eminem is ending that album. The finale of that album is Venom. The finale of that album is him telling you all this stuff. It's like him getting this off his chest or something. Sort of a funny image with the idea of some like a Venom suit on your chest. But Eminem is the Venom suit on your chest. So let's see what he says about it here. I said, knock, knock, let the devil in. That's verse 3. So same as verse 2, similar to verse 1. Again, he says, it's like he's repeating it a second time. I said, knock, knock, let the devil in. Okay. Alien, Elliot phone home, ain't no telling when this chokehold on this game will end. I'm loco. Became a symbiote, so my fangs are in your throat, ho. So Alien, Elliot phone home. Who's Elliot? I'm not sure who Elliot is. Is he from E.T.? Well, Elliot phoned home in terms of like E.T. being a demonic figure, and it's like Elliot phoned home. E.T.'s actually evil in the context of this verse. But before that, Alien, like the movie Alien, where there's the big black scary alien like kind of creeping around the ship. But then prior to that, the guy gets the facehugger alien, or the facehugger form of an alien on his face. And it injects him with eggs. It injects him with like symbiotic creatures that end up popping through his chest, and then basically not only him dying in that process, but then the creature basically goes and tries to kill everyone around him. So in the ship that everyone's now caught on. So that's what Eminem's like. And he goes on to say, became a symbiote, which I think is the term for Venom, the Venom suit, like a symbiote. Or the Venom suit is symbiotic. It is a symbiote in the Spider-Man Marvel Comics universe or whatever. And so Venom in this is similar to the alien facehugger putting eggs in your chest. The alien one's a little scarier. Venom, you could survive it. You can somehow get out of it. I think in the movie, maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. But then it is kind of funny. He throws in the sort of very Eminem E.T. reference, or very latter day career era Eminem E.T. reference here anyway, where it's sort of like a funny thing where it's like, no, Elliot, you better phone home, not E.T. phone home, you phone home because E.T.'s evil, and he's your little friend, and he's been following you around in childhood, like Eminem might have been kind of your little friend, following you around in your ear as a child. But you thought he was a friendly alien. He's not. He's going to fucking destroy you. Maybe from the inside, like the alien from Alien the movie, or like the symbiote suit. Maybe he's just going to control you and whatever, corrupt you or whatever. Okay, but so became a symbiote, so my fangs are in your throat, ho. And now he's maybe talking to the female listeners, or the male listeners as being dominated like the female listeners might be as well by him. You're snake bitten with my venom. With the ballpoint pen, so again, my venom, and then he follows that up with the ballpoint venom, as if to equate venom with his ballpoint pen, or the ink in his ballpoint pen, maybe. So again, he's casting his ballpoint pen as damaging and destructive on a level that is to the listener, specifically. You're snake bitten with my venom, with the ballpoint pen I'm. Gun cocked, again, is in the second verse, shotgun pellets in his felt pen. Gun cocked, bump stock, double-aught, buckshot, like the shotgun pellets there. Tire thumper, a garrote, or I'm not sure what that word is. Tie a couple knots, fired up and caught fire, juggernaut, punk rock, bitch, it's going down like young jock. So punk rock, he's referring to like a different style of music, but still kind of aggressive and maybe manipulative and given to a certain culture maybe. And then it's going down like young jock. That's another rapper, sort of after Eminem's time, or, after Eminem started out in the industry, young jock. But another guy who had a popular song, It's Going Down. And if you look at him in this context as yet another potential controller in the music industry, then It's Going Down has sort of negative undertones. Like, it's going down, the society's going down because people like me, and young jock in this case being the me, and people like Eminem are there bringing this shit down. Because the doc put me on like sunblock. So here we go back to Dr. Dre. As I was saying, Eminem was taken under Dr. Dre's wing. So Dr. Dre put him on like sunblock. So he put Eminem on. In other words, he gave Eminem promotion, basically. Like, he promoted Eminem to be where he is today. He helped Eminem become the celebrity. Okay, so I will say it. Why the fuck not? You only got one shot. Ate shit till I can't. Okay, because the doc put me on like sunblock. Why the fuck not? You only got one shot. As if Eminem's sort of saying that about his decision to go under Dr. Dre's wing. And if he's asking why the fuck not, then he might be asking it in the sense of like, well, why would you do something like this? Why would you go under this dark wing of the evil culture? Why the fuck not? You only got you only get one shot, which is a direct callback to Eminem's song "Lose Yourself," maybe his most popular song of all time, the movie song for 8 Mile, interestingly enough, whereas this is a movie song for Venom, which is nowhere near like the movie 8 Mile is, as far as I've heard of it. And it's also a Marvel shitty clone movie of like a whole bunch of other shit and stuff. But, you know, in the song "Lose Yourself," he talks about you only get one shot, and he's cast himself, like in the song "Almost Famous," in the song sort of Rabbit Run from the 8 Mile soundtrack, in the song 8 Mile from the 8 Mile soundtrack, in "Lose Yourself." Like, he's sort of had that as part of his persona. Like, his persona really is saying you only get one shot, and so it's like, why would you go under perhaps this might be the question there, why would you go under the wing of the dragon with Dr. Dre? Why the fuck not? You only get one shot. Okay, so then ate shit till I can't taste it. So why the fuck not? You only get one shot, and then he follows that up with perhaps referencing the classic like humiliation rituals, or like the shit that people are made to go through as like initiation into like the higher echelons of like celebrity culture and stuff. So, because the doc put me on like sunblock, why the fuck not? You only get one shot. Ate shit till I can't taste it. So it's a huge turn right there. And it's like, hey, the doc put me on like sunblock. It sounds kind of nice. Sunblock. He's out in the sun. Like, it's kind of protecting him, whatever. He put him on. And it feels kind of nice. You think of a sunblock ad and everyone's looking pretty good and stuff. And then Eminem saying, why the fuck not? You only get one shot, perhaps in the sense of like, why the fuck not? Why wouldn't I go with Dr. Dre and be famous? And then directly his next line is, ate shit till I can't taste it. So after he got famous, after he went through all that stuff from verse 1, one thing is, now he's here. It is him, after all that work and all that hard work, and Dr. Dre finally saying, hell yeah, it's not all sunshine and roses for Eminem anymore either. Now it's ate shit till I can't taste it. After I did all the work to get here, I ate shit till I couldn't taste it. After I ate shit for all the work to get here, now that I'm here, I'm eating shit until I can't taste it, and still it. Okay, so chased it with straight liquor. Ate shit till I can't taste it, chased it with straight liquor. You wonder why Eminem went through all those drug problems. You wonder why Eminem talks about, throughout his career, he talks more and more about like being an addict and how horrible his life is. So he ate shit till he couldn't taste it, perhaps in the music industry in there, and then he chased it with straight liquor. So he ate shit, and like he was like, basically he had to do all this shit that he didn't want to do, and it was really horrible, and he got through it by drowning his pain with liquor. Okay. Then paint thinner, then drank till I faint and awake with a headache. Let's just go fast through the rest of it. So, and I take anything in rectangular shape, then I wait to face the demons I'm bonded to, 'cause they're chasing me, but I'm part of you. So escaping me is impossible. I latch on to you like a parasite. Here's Eminem coming in for the kill. He was talking about what happened to him, and now he's turning around to you. Because don't forget, you're the person he's attacking with the venom. And I probably ruined your parents' life, and your childhood too, because I'm the music that y'all grew up on. I'm responsible for you retarded fools. I'm the supervillain Dad and Mom was losing their marbles to. You marvel that? Eddie Brock is you, and I'm the suit, so call me Venom.